with bad English with the Swedish gamer. My name is Jerry, and this is episode 47. Today's video, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. This is something I have planned to do for a long time, but I didn't have the opportunity to do so. So I took the opportunity to do this today. I am gonna do something that many people have done on the YouTube channels, a tier list by killers. And that is precisely what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to include the Cenobite in this because he hasn't arrived yet, and I haven't played the PTB, so it's going to be very difficult to put someone in which I haven't played as. But I'm going to rank all the other characters. There are 12. Let's see, how many? 12, 20, 24 killers, based on different criteria about how do I fit with the killer, how good is the killer's powers, and so here are there are 5 criteria I'm gonna based on the killer's list. First off is the power. What kind of power does the killer have and how good it is? The learning ability is the next criteria. How easy or difficult is it to learn things with the killer? The third criteria is chase. How good is the chase? The pressure is the next criteria. Pressure is how to build pressure based by how to affect the objectives of the survivors, mainly the generator build. How can I defend the generators the best? How strong is the killer based on pressure? And the last criteria is a more personal thing. I call it the entertainment value. How fun is the killer to play as? Well, it depends which killer it is. And I'm gonna rank them by the tier maker list, which I did in ranking in the tier maker stage. You can go to tier maker, you do your own videos, your own rankings with the killers. So I have placed them of 6 different scores. S is the top tier score, that is S for superb. A is the next best, that's amazing. B is good. C is okay, it's not good, but it's not bad either. D is dull, it's bad. And E is the lowest score, it's horrible. I put a score in each and every criteria and calculate them. I'll calculate them and divide it by 5, because superb is 6 points and the horrible is 1 point. Well, S is 6 points and E is 1 point, and I do a middle score and I put the total score at the tire score, so it'll be fair counted. And I have played Dead by Daylight for years, so I'm not gonna say that, oh, this killer is fun to play, he's good as hell, while the other one might have strong power but is terrible player, so we will put it lower down. It doesn't really work like that. You need to find a balance of the killer. I need to find a balance of the killer, pros and cons, and I'm not gonna use any perks. The perks are not determinable. They're not well. When you play as killer, you do need perks to give more power to the killer. But I'm gonna do this score rating without using any perks. Only the powers or the abilities of the killer, nothing else. With that said, I'm going to begin this. First, a sip of Coke, because I'm gonna talk a lot and I'm gonna get very thirsty. Okay, first up is the Trapper, which I have a picture. Let's begin with his power. The Trapper, its power is using his bear traps. The bear traps are more. It's like a strategic thing. You need to use your traps quickly. You need to put the traps. It's not. You need to do it early, because if you do it later, the survivors are going to avoid you very quickly. You need to understand how to put the traps at the right time, So I will say that planning is key, and it's not a strong power in my opinion. There are killers with stronger powers, but when someone steps in the trap, they get stuck and they get injured. So it is satisfying to see, but you need luck with this. Because the survivors can destroy, well, can disarm the trap, not destroy them. They could destroy them before, but not anymore. They can disarm the trap, and you have to arm it again and pick up traps. It's gonna cost time. So I will put D on the power. Next criteria is learning. Trapper is perhaps one of the easiest killers to learn. It's very simple. He's an M1 killer, meaning a normal killer that hits people with his weapon. And the bear traps is easy to put down. It's very easy to pick up, very easy to put down. But it takes a long time to master it. You need the planning strategy as well. But learning the Trapper is super easy, and that's why I'm gonna put A on this. I almost attempted to put an S, but A seems a little bit more fair. Next category is chase. The Trapper has, maybe I can go to the character info here. The movement speed is very important for a character. The attributes, his max base speed is 4 meters per second. It's a normal speed. His terror radius is 32 meters. He has a normal walking speed, so he's an okay character to chase with, and nothing is special. So C is a very good score for this. I will not put lower in C, but I will not put higher either, because you need to have some strong attribute to chase someone, and Trapper does not have that. He's just having normal speed. Well, he can use bloodlust to gain speed, but now he has a normal speed, and C is fair. Pressure is the same thing here. He doesn't have any abilities to defend the generators, although he could use certain perks like Brutal Strength, which is one of his perks to kick the generators faster, but he doesn't have that pressuring thing to go back to generators faster or causing mischief to survivors more than running to the generators. So I will put C here as well. The entertainment factor though, I think Trapper is quite fun to play as. It's so satisfying to see someone step into the bear trap while in a chase to mind game them and stepping into it. It's fun, and I think he's an absolute the first killer you should play as in Dead by Daylight, because he's the easiest to learn and he has the normal power. So B is a good score here. B is good score for the Trapper. Well, calculating everything points as he has a D, A, C, C, and a B. When I calculate this together, the main score for Trapper is the C tier. So C is good. Okay, next killer. The Brave. Mr. Ding Ding Ding, Ding Dong Bell, or yeah. The Brave. Let's go with his powers immediately. The Brave's power is the Wailing Bell. The Wailing Bell makes him invisible, and while he's invisible, he's actually faster. He runs faster than the Trapper, but the walking speed is exactly the same. While he's cloaked, he can travel extremely fast to an ambush. Well, not ambush, to surprise the counselors. This is not Friday the 13th. The survivors, and leading an ambush attack, which actually he gets a little bit speed, becoming visible again. While he hits the bell, he's a little bit slower, but then he gets a real kick of the speed and hit them quickly. I think his power is damn strong. I think it's absolutely one of the strongest powers to not see the killer and gaining that speed he's got and making some add-ons which makes him even faster or more devious. I think this is quite underestimated. I do understand why people using him as the most played killer in the entire game. So I'm gonna put A on his power. I think it's so much stronger of a trapper. And the learning bit is also interesting. He's very easy to play as. He's very mobile. His wailing bell is easy to use. It's easy to uncloak. He's an M1 killer just like Trapper, but he doesn't use trap, he uses invisibility. So the learning part is also good. Top tier here, almost an A on this as well. The chase is also a good thing with the Wraith, because he is so fast, he can turn himself invisible and chase the survivor. Sorry, I had to drink. He can chase the survivor much faster when he is invisible, and uncloak and hit them with a surprise attack. So I'm going to put B on his chase. The pressure though, the generator pressure is his weakness, I think, because he doesn't have anything that pressures the generators to degenerate faster. He could use his invisibility to go to the generators faster, so I think he's a little slight better than Trapper as well, but I'm gonna put a C on this anyway, because the pressure is by far it's a bit weaker than the chase, and I do value the chase a little bit higher here. The entertainment factor, the Wraith is fun to play as. I love being invisible and being in total ass against the survivors. Well, that said, I'm going to rank him. He has 2 A's, 2 B's, and 1 C. And he has a good score. His entire score is B. Strong killer indeed. Next up, the Hillbilly. The Hillbilly got reworked a couple of months ago. Maybe a year ago or so. His power is also really strong. He's a running character he has 2 weapons. He's got this club he's beating the shit out of people with, and his trusty chainsaw. He's one of the 2 chainsaw killers in this game. His chainsaw sprint gains enormous speed, and his chainsaw can instantly hit someone down with 1 hit, if he managed to hit that. Where it has 2 weaknesses. One, the limit of the heat meter, it gets overheated, and the turning radio is very difficult with the Hillbilly. But the power is so damn strong, and it's scary to see a Hillbilly country guy running around with a bloody chainsaw. His walking speed is 4.6, his terror radius 32 meters, but with the chainsaw he's gotta run at least 10, 15 meters or something like that. He's so damn fast, and he's extremely good at the open area stages. A little bit weaker on the narrower spot or indoor maps. The outdoor maps are really good. That's why I'm gonna put A on his power. The learning skill though takes time. He's very difficult to steer when he uses his chainsaw, and it could be frustrating to getting the overheating thing all over and have to wait to use the chainsaw. So I'm gonna put D on the learning skill. Chase skill is equally as good as the power. I mean, you can put a good chase really fast, and well, A is more unfair. It's good. I'm almost tempted to put an S, but A is terrific. A is bloody terrific here, because you can gain so much. You can go to a place very fast, and the pressure is also a strength. Thanks to his speed, he can go to a generator quite fast. and gaining some pressure on the survivors and get them off the generators, and maybe get a free hit or two or a chainsaw down. So a B is fair as well. And the entertainment factor, Hillbilly is fun to play as. I think he's damn cool looking, and he's scary as hell, and running around with the chainsaw sprint is it's so cool. The sound of the chainsaw and his growling. Although he's weak and he was in the beginning, he still is one powerful dude. So the entertainment factor is A. And the mid score, when I calculate 3 A's, 1 D and a B, middle score is B tier. He's going into the B tier with it's a good choice. Very fair. Okay, next up, the nurse. The nurse is considered as the best killer in the entire game by many people out there, and I do understand why. I totally understand why, because the nurse is an unpredictable killer, together with another killer I'm gonna bring up later, but her power is the blinking. She is the slowest killer in the game, as you can see here at the... If I can see the attributes, if you see the Hillbilly speed, all the other killer speed of 4.6, but if you go to the nurse, she only has 3.8. That is slower than the survivors running. Her blinking skill dispenses last breath. She makes her fist. She cleans her fist and blinks and travels quickly through objects in blinking speed. You can even go through walls, trees, floors, roofs, and do a surprise hit. And that is so damn scary. The downside of it is that she gains fatigue and a migraine every time she uses the powers. So this is a typical win and lose situation. You gaining distance quickly as hell, you getting a hit, but you get so much lost if you miss. But the power is nothing wrong. The power is damn strong. So this power is an S tier. Below S tier will be bullshit, because I think her power is extremely good. That said, the learning skill though, especially on consoles, I do think it's easy on a computer, as I don't play on a computer but only on console. The learning skill, I still try to learn as nurse, but she is so difficult. It's difficult to determine how far can she go with the blinking. And sometimes I can't even go through certain objects, like certain rocks or certain trees. I stand still there and look like an idiot, and letting the survivor escape. So the learning skill, I have to put E on it. I have to put the bottom tier on the learning, because it takes a long time. You need patience. You need patience. You need to use certain perks to make her stronger if you are a rookie with her. But if you are a master, congratulations, you has learned the best, strongest killer in the entire game. Which comes to the next category, that is chase. Chases, well, if you have a stubborn nurse after you, you're pretty dead. Because she pallet loops, you cannot, well, you can stun a nurse, but the pallets aren't any problems for Nuggles, but she can't blink through them and hit the survivor from the other side. And she can gain so much distance quickly. Sometimes you can use 3 blinks if you have certain add-ons. But the chases are amazing with her. You can even go through walls in the killer shack and outsmart them and hitting them. The chase is a S tier, no doubt. The pressure skill though, well, it could be as high as S as well, but I I find the chase here more satisfying than the pressure on the generators. Because she doesn't have any pressure skill that slows the generators down. Although she could blink there very fast and whiff them off very fast. Her skill is more determined by the chase than the defense. So C is my score on the pressure part. The entertainment part is also C in my opinion, because I'm not a fan of the nurse. As I said, I think she is bloody difficult to play as. But a perfect blink and a perfect hit is damn satisfying. I could change this score in the future if I play more as her and learning her abilities much more. But C is to me much fair. And I totally understand and respect everyone that puts their top 1 or top 3 is killers. That is totally understandable, because I do see the potential of the power. Calculating everything here, she is at C+. So she's stronger than Trapper, but a little bit weaker than Wraith and Hillbilly. Next killer is the Huntress. The Huntress is a ranged killer, and let's talk about her powers first. Her power is the hatchets. She throws hatchets to hit people from a long distance, and it's strong. It's really strong. She could have a couple of hatchets in her pocket, and determining of how long you hold the hatchet, it can travel very far and very fast. Some add-ons can even cause more mischief, like an insta-down, or mangled, or blindness, or something like that. It's a good idea to throw a hatchet first and hit the survivor, then hit them with the M1 main weapon hit. So an A tier is good here. The learning skill though is very, very, well, not difficult, but challenging, because you need to have patience and using the hatchet at the right time. If you only try to throw a hatchet, she becomes slow when she holds the hatchet and try to throw it, and you can actually miss with the hatchet. Although the hitbox are really big with the hatchets, which is weird. She can snipe someone for a very long distance if you manage to hit right. And you need to go to a locker to get more hatchets if you run out of them. So I will put a C on the learning skill. The chase skill is really good, because thanks to this hatchet throwing thing, she can injure people very fast, and even down them very fast too. So A is my score on the tier on the chase. The chase, well, I almost said chase twice. The pressure, though, the generator pressure, if she doesn't use certain perks and add-ons, I don't think she has a pressure on generators that strongly. It doesn't have that strong essence like certain killers has. So I will gently put a C on that as well, because she's a normal killer while defending. The entertainment though, I'm not really a Huntress main. I think she has good chasing, but I feel like she has a little bit clumsy appearance, and the lullaby song, it gives away the sneaking part. They do know the humming. If you hear the humming, you know it's Huntress. So you can plan a lot of things against her. So I will put a C tier on her entertainment fact. And calculating all the scores, she will also go to C+, just like Nurse, which makes her above average. Next up is Michael Myers, The Shape. The Shape is an interesting killer. His power is the evil within. the Evil Within is a very interesting power because it's based on 3 different modes of Myers. The first mode is the Within 1. He has the undetectable status effect. You cannot hear him when he comes near you. He is slower, and his range attack is very, very bad in tier 1. But since you are quiet, you can even surprise them very fast. His ability to stalk people builds his Evil Within, and when he gains to level 2, he can never go back to level 1. He stays at level 2, and the terror radius is started, and he becomes faster, and he has a longer range. By continuous stalking people, he can go to tier 3, which makes everyone exposed, and he can hit them at 1 hit. The problem with Myers is that stalking takes time, and sometimes when you stalk someone, I forget the main objective. That is actually beating down the survivors and making sure they don't fix generators. So you cannot rely that much by his power. So that's why I'm gonna put C on his power, although it's so damn satisfying putting something down with Evil Within 3. The learning skill, it takes time to learn his power. You do need to understand what's the differences between the different evils within. And the further you stalk someone, if someone turns red or around it, you cannot stalk that person anymore. So you have to stalk someone else, and you can lose Evil Within 3 and go back to level 2. So it takes time to master this ability. So C is also a good tier here. The Chase, on the other hand, it depends on which tier it's in. I think it's a little bit faster when it's within 3, and since the exposed status gives so much injury, it's so damn strong. So within 3 I should alone put it at least A. And within 1's undetectable status makes it damn scary to hide from. The main problem is within 2, because it doesn't really have that strong benefits which within 1 and 3 has. So I will put C on the Chase as well. Just like the Pressure, and certainly he's also one of those killers that doesn't have any strong defense mechanism against the generators build. So I'm gonna put a C tier in here as well. But the entertainment factor, which is his strongest ability, I love playing as Myers. It feels so it feels so satisfying playing as one of cinema's biggest and most famous evil characters of all time. I mean, I feel like I am Michael Myers when I play as him. The heavy breathing, the music, the knife, the aura of this evil character. It's damn good. It's a S tier, no doubt. Calculated by all of these tiers together, the main tier is gonna be C. C, oh, well, C, yeah, C is good. Okay, next killer is gonna be the Hag. Original killer as well for the game. Just like the Trapper, she puts traps on the ground, but her traps doesn't harm people. It actually is an alarm. It also is a really good jump scare. On certain areas, if you put a trap in, let's say, tall grass, and survivor doesn't know you put a trap there, they shit their pants literally, because that jump scare with the ears scream and that sudden appearance of the Hag's silhouette. If she is nearby the trap, she can teleport quickly to the pet trap and ambush them with some hits. And it it doesn't take long time to put down the traps either. You can trap almost everywhere. But a survivor with keen eye and a flashlight can either avoid the trap by crawling, or, well, crouching and walking past it, or using a flashlight to burn away the evil scars on the ground. But the power is strong. It's a very good alarm thing, so I will put B on this. Learning skill with your hag is not that difficult either. It's easy to put down traps. Actually it's not that difficult to travel to the traps alarm either. So I will put a B tier on this as well. Very easy to understand. The chase here is interesting. This is actually a controversial part, because while in the chase she is how fast is she? She's 4.4, so she's a little bit slower than Myers. But look at the terror radius. The terror radius, well, Myers is a small terror radius. Her terror radius is a little bit smaller than Huntress and Myers. She has lower score than these most killers. That makes her a little bit dangerous to go against. And if they step at the trap, she can jump there very quickly and snatch them. So putting a B tier on the chase sounds... Yeah, I do. I was pointing against something between C or B, but I do leaning towards a B, because I think the chase parts with the hag, if someone steps in the trap, they are gonna get spooked, and I'm going to get a surprise hit like that. But pressure, on the other hand, I could go with the B here as well, but I'm leaning more for a C here. Why? Because you can, if you try to fix a generator, you are more observed when you know it's a hag. A chase, you more focused on the chase when by shit, but not by the environment. So C is more fair on the pressure part. Playing as hag is also satisfying. I love playing as her. She's so damn funny to play as, and scare the shit out of people is so good. So an A tier on the hag is good. Calculating on the score, 3 Bs, 1 C and 1 A, it goes to a B tier. Here comes the next killer, it's Doctor. Sorry, I burped, sorry about that. The Doctor is a range killer as well, but his range power is strange, because he shocks people, and every time he shocks people, they gain mad. And the more madness they build, the more difficult they're more difficult to fixing generators, repairing, and the healing. The skill checks are messed up, and the more madness they get, the more detectable will be, because their screams could be heard for a long distance. He has a normal status shocking wave, who shocked her for a couple of meters ahead, and his status blast makes him clench his fist like this and give him a really strong you can detect people from a very close distance, but if they're very far away from the status blast, it doesn't work. But if they're very close and you can see where they are, you go to them and try to ambush them. So his power is strong, but it could be avoided. So B tier is good here. The learning skill, although, is quite difficult. It takes time. Hello. The learning skill takes a longer time, because you need to time the shockwaves very precisely, and sometimes the survivors can actually ram the other direction, and the status blast takes time to recharge, and you need to know how to use it well. So I will put a C tier on the doctor's learning skill. The chase part is good. Shocking people makes them prevents them to drop down generators sometimes. So it's gonna be, it's a good thing to use to cut down chases. You can use the shocking way to also prevent them jumping from windows as well, and also making sure listen to where we're going. So I will put B tier on the chase part. The pressure part, although, is a little bit weaker, because he doesn't really have any form of gen pressure. Thank you very much. But the pressure is very difficult because he only relies on his shocking ways, and the shocking ways doesn't really affect the generators that much, except for the skill checks. If they mess up a skill check, he will know where they are, but that doesn't really mean they put so much pressure on the generators. He's more observant killer. So I'm gonna put C tier on the pressure. The entertainment factor is very high because running around and shocking people is fun as hell. So I'm gonna put an A on his entertainment factor. Calculating all the 5 scores criteria, I will put a C tier on the total score of the Doctor. It's really a strong killer. Next up is Bubba, Leatherface the Cannibal. The Cannibal's power is almost as equal as the Hillbillies. He's also a chainsaw killer, but instead of running around with the chainsaw, he sweeps this chainsaw for a long bit, and this chainsaw sweep can actually hit multiple survivors down with one hit, which makes his power extremely powerful and very irritating. But if he hits an object, he will make a tantrum and stand still for a while and look totally stupid. So I will not put an S, but at least an A, because I think his chainsaw's multiple downs are so strong. Next up is the learning skill. It takes time to learn how to use the chainsaw because he has different stacks of the chainsaw. Let's see here if I can see here. Using a charge to extend the length of the sweep. The more charge used, the further he can sweep the chainsaw, and the charges have to recharge after during time. He doesn't affect by the overheating thing that the Hillbilly does, but it's a little bit easier to use than the Hillbilly. So I'm gonna put C on the learning skill. The chase skill is not as high as the Hillbilly, but it's quite high because his chainsaw can actually break down walls and pallets very quick, and the chainsaw sweep actually makes him a little bit faster than his walking speed. People need to use the environment and the environment corners and some tactics to make sure not being hit by the chainsaw. So I will put the B on the chase part. The pressure part of generators is just like only any regular killers as well, so it doesn't have that strong defense of generators. So I will put C on him as well. But here goes the most controversial part. I don't like playing as Bubba. I like the character. I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's a great movie, but there's something off with the cannibal. I think he's unfair. I think he's so damn unfair, especially if I meet a chainsaw, a cannibal who camps. This is the killer that people mostly use as camping. They put someone in a basement, they use the insidious perk and camp and try to multi-hit some killers, some survivors at once, and it's so frustrating. I mean, why camp? It's dumb. It's the most dumbest thing you can do in the entire game. And I don't feel playing as Leatherface while I playing in this game. No sorry. Myers is more suitable for me because I feel like Myers. Playing as Myers. I don't feel like playing as Leatherface, unfortunately. It doesn't give the character the respect that he deserves, unfortunately. So I'm gonna put a D on entertainment factor. By calculating the pros and cons, I will put a C+ tier above, which is weird because I actually put a low tier on entertainment, but his power is strong, you cannot deny that. Here comes Freddy Krueger next, the Nightmare. Many people hate his killer because his long range of this sweep, they hate that. But let's talk about his power. He has a 2 power. His first power is putting some snares, like trap. Almost, it reminds me a lot of the Hag's traps. If someone steps up on his snares, they scream and become slow. But they can only step on the traps if they're asleep and in a nightmare. If he hits someone with his regular N1 sweep, they can go into the nightmare. Sometimes he can make fake pellets that also make sure they can get bodified and scream. His second ability is to travel to a generator quickly. If he suspects someone is finishing in a generator, he can go to that place very fast. So I will put B tier on his power. The learning skill on him, although takes a little bit further time, because you need to know when you're gonna put the snares. He's been nerfed a couple of times because most recently he used the snares to slow down the people while in chase. Now they have reduced some of his traps and made it a little bit slower while using the snares. So it's more fair playing against him. I mean, his range is horrifying. It's horrifying long. But the learning curve, it takes a little bit of time, but it's not impossible. No. It's not impossible to play as Freddy. So I will put the C tier on his learning skill. The chase skill, well, it's about average in my opinion. Although his long reach with his claws, I do think he is a normal speed killer. It says he has 4.6, and I think it is like that. His terror radius is 32 meters. While in a nightmare, people get oblivious and they can't hear him for a long distance. So he's much more dangerous in the nightmares. But I think his chase skill is average, and I will put it on C. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. The pressure, on the other hand, I think this is one of his strengths. By using the teleportation to the generators, he can actually travel to a generator. Bye. He can actually go to the generators very fast and kick the generator, or maybe get a free hit on the survivors. It takes time to refill use the power again, but I think with this power he actually can put some pressure on the survivor. I do think so. So I will put a B on this. Playing as Freddy is satisfying as well. I think it's much more funny to play than Leatherface. Not as equally fun as Myers, but almost. I do wish they could have Robert Englund's appearance instead of the remake Freddy. because he is scary looking, but he doesn't have the menacing type of appearance as England's Freddy has. So I will put only, I do citation markings, A tier on the entertainment factor. Calculating all of these pros and cons, Freddy will get a C plus from me. And next up is Amanda Young, the Pig. The Pig is cool looking from the Saw franchise. The Pig's power are based on two things: the crouching dash attack. She will get undetectable by crouching, and the rushing attack gives a little sprint and a dash to hit someone. It takes a little bit long to use the attack, but it's good. It's cool to sneak up on people. The other part of the trap power is that when she downs someone, she put a trap on them, a bear trap on her head, reverse bear trap, and with that trap, when the generator is done, the trap activates, and they have the survivor with the trap on. He or she has to go to a certain pedestal and put the hands on the pedestal and find a key to unlock the trap. Only one of them is right, and it's different every time. And they need to remove it, because if the time meter goes off, they die instantly, and you cannot escape with the bear trap active. If it's inactive, you can escape, but not otherwise. Although I have issues with the bear traps. The dash attack, well, the sneaking part is good, but the dash attack could be very slow, and it could be very easy to avoid. And the bear traps aren't strong enough. I think they're easy to pick off, because sometimes I think the time meter stops sometimes. I think they should be more menacing and more powerful, more threatening, which they aren't. Which leads me to put D on the Pig's power, because the power is one of the weakest, unfortunately, because it's a good idea. Learning skill, putting bear traps is not difficult, it's easy. The learning curve is to use the dash attack properly. So I will put the C tier on that. The chase part is, well, equally as the normal killers. She could use the dash attack with sneaking part to gaining some ambush attacks, but I'm gonna put C on it anyways. The pressure part is equally to regular killers. She doesn't have any generator stopping, well, except for the bear trap that they're active. It's a controversial thing. If they finish the generator, the trap activates. So she could have some sort of map pressure on the generators, but I will put a C in it anyways, because it should have been a little stronger. Playing around as a pig, running with the ambush attacks and putting bear traps is cool, but I personally think she could have been a little bit stronger. So I will put a B tier on Amanda Young, and the main score, total score, is C. Here comes one of the creepiest killers in the entire game, the Clown. The Clown's power is based off throwing his tonic, the afterpiece tonic. When he touched the bottle, a cloud of purple smoke appears, and everyone within that smoke gets dizzy, slower, and very easy target to be hit by the Clown. Certain add-ons makes this afterpiece tonic stronger, giving more effect, and if he hits the bottle right at you, you can get insta down if you use the right add-on. Although it takes time to throw the bottle right, it's difficult to throw the bottle right. he can also change the tonic to a jello bottle, which gives him extra speed. This also affects survivors and also can get extra speed by running into the jello smoke. But the effects of it doesn't appear immediately. It started to work after 1.5 seconds, and I think that is weird. If I want to chase someone, I want to step onto the smoke immediately. I can't just wait for the smoke to turn yellow. The purple smoke turns purple immediately, but not the yellow. And if I throw a yellow smoke bottle onto the purple smoke, it vanishes. The power could be strong in certain places, especially indoor areas or like in the basement or the killer shack, but not much in the outdoors. So I will. And the yellow bottles were actually, when they remade the clown, I'm actually disappointed. I was hoping for something more. It takes a shorter time to restock the bottles, unfortunately. But I will put C tier on here because it's fair. The learning skill, well, to throw a bottle takes time. It takes time to throw a bottle. No, it doesn't take long. It goes fast to throwing bottle, but aiming is key, and it's very difficult to aim right, especially when you go against what do they call again? Computer players. C tier here as well. The chase part is good. This is actually his strength. If you throw a bottle and they step on the bottle, they get slower and it can shorten the distance. So I will put B tier on that. Pressure part is one of his weaknesses. He doesn't have that strong pressure part, unless he uses Pop Goes to Weasel. But I'm doing this tier list without using perks, only by his power. So C tier is good as well. And Clown is, well, middle. Sometimes it's fun player, sometimes not. It depends of the stage, it depends of the add-ons, the powers, the perks. So C tier is good. And the main score is C. Next up is the Spirit. My god. This is probably the most creepy kill in the entire game. Her power is almost equal as the nurse. She uses a combination of nurse and Wraith. Her face walk makes her travel of a distance fast as hell, invisible. You can see the scratch marks of people running around. You cannot see the people, but you can sense they're there. And by this power, she is so unpredictable. You do not know which direction she comes from while doing an ambush attack. And you have a chasing spirit after you. You better watch out. You better pray to God you can outsmart her. But that power is so strong, so I will put an S tier on that. Learning skill is also quite high. It isn't difficult to use the power, but mastering it takes time. But when you have mastered it, you have proven yourself to be a strong killer. And I will put a B tier on the learning skill. The chase is bloody strong as well. The chase is her power. If she starts chasing you, you better pray to God. I will put a S tier on the chase. Thanks to her facing walk, she can actually travel to a generator quite fast, which makes me putting a B tier on the pressure part. The entertainment factor is high. I love playing as a spirit. I mean, it's so great playing as a scary killer who puts pressure on the survivors, and with this strong power of hers, she's lethal. She's bloody lethal. And the S tier is no doubt of the entertainment factor, and which gives us to a new leader on this tier list. 3 S and 2 Bs. makes an A on the average score on the Spirit. Totally fair. Next up, the Legion. The appearance of the Legion is cool. He or she looks so bloody cool. The power is strong. The Legion runs around in the fear of frenzy and hitting people with the knife stroke, knife swoop. Can detect other persons by the heartbeats of the location, and the fear frenzy keeps going on. But if you miss, or hitting the same survivor twice, or letting the time limit go off, they get a migraine. The Legion gets a migraine, and they have to wait for the power to go back into it again. But this is a good detection killer, and it's cool running around and jumping over pallets and windows fast, which gives the Legion's power a B tier. Learning skill takes a while though. It's easy to miss or do a mistake with the Legion, but give it some time and you will have a fun killers play as. So I will put a C tier on that. The chase part is a strong part. If you have a running Legion after you, you are in trouble. You are in deep trouble, because the Legion won't stop until you're down. I will put an A tier on that. Map pressure or generator pressure, it might be the weakest part. If you don't use discordance or any aura reading things for generators like Bitter Murmur or Tinkerer, you're gonna have issues with the pressure. You could run there, but I was using the running part for the chases instead, so I will put C tier on the pressure. The entertainment factor, well, if I made this tier list a couple of years ago, I would definitely put the E on it, but I hate to play this Legion because I thought the Legion was one of the weakest killers before, but since the Legion has gained a couple of buffs, I think the Legion is more fun to play as today, but not as equally as fun as many other kills. So I would put a C tier on that, and the C tier is the main score of Legion. Next up, the Plague. The Plague is a menacing killer, which using her vomit. Her Plague is in a vomit, and she can throw up on survivors, on objects, doors, no, not doors, generators, lockers, pallets, hooks, and anyone who interacts with those objects gets sick. And the more sick they become, the more plague will become, and they will get injured, so they can't heal each other being that sick, so they have to use their cleansing on one of those water fountains. The power is okay, I think, but it's quite difficult to aim with her Wild Purge, and using the Corrupt Purge. Playing against the survivors on computer is difficult to hit them, so I would say that I would put a C on her power. It could have been stronger, but it's okay. The learning skill takes time because it's very difficult to aim with her vomit. I will put a D on that. The chase part is regular. I will put a C on that because I think her chase is just like regular killers. Although if you could vomit and hit them perfectly and make them injured, you can hit them quickly. So that's why I'm gonna put a C on that. I was almost tempting to put a D, but if you injure them with the vomit first, or using corruptive purge, you could kill the chase quick. The pressure part is her weakness, the real weakness, I guess, because she doesn't have that much for a generator pressure. Although if you use corrupt intervention, that will buy you some time. But I don't really think she has that really strong generator pressure thing. She could vomit on them so you can know, okay, someone's touching the generator, but you can also vomit and different other things, so it might not be a very good detectable. So I would use perks like discordance or any generator stopping perks to make sure she gains more via better advantage. I will put a D on her pressure. The entertainment factor though is B, because I think it's I think she's elegant. She's elegant, elegant and scary as one at once. I will put the B tier on that. The total score on the Plague is actually D+, which put her on the bottom line for now. Next up is the Ghostface. Ghostface is equal with Myers when it comes to stalking, but I think his power is stronger because you can make yourself quiet thanks to the Night Shroud, and by stalking someone for a little while you can make them exposed just like that, quickly, and even multiple people at once if you're very, very skilled, and you can hit them down with one hit. And you can also jump scare them with the hello doggy with the Night Shroud. I will put an A tier on, but I think his power is good. The learning skill though is very difficult because it's so easy to miscalculate this, the crouching, the stalking, or the hitting. If you hit in the air by mistake or be detected easily, you will lose your Night Shroud and you have to wait again. It takes very long time to learn his power. I will put a D on that. Chase, like regular if you've been detected, so I will put a C on that. But if you use the Night Shroud, I could bump it up to a B or maybe A. But for a regular Chase, I will put a C on that. He has good range as well. Map pressure or gen pressure, well, just like any killers, a C here. I don't think he has really strong generator pressing builds, unfortunately. Playing as Ghostface is cool. He's almost as equally as fun as play as Myers. I do feel like Ghostface as well playing as him, but Myers is a stronger looking character. But Ghostface is almost equally as fun, so I will put an A on him. He is a better player than Myers, I think. But by calculating the score, he actually gets a C+, so he's a little bit stronger than Myers. Totally. Okay, 8 killers left. The Demogorgon, which is going to disappear soon, which is bad. But if you buy him now, you will keep him. His power is based by making portals on the ground. The more portals you build, the faster you can travel from one spot to the other by and ambush survivors, or maybe even stop them from making generator progress. His shred attack makes a leap like that and hitting survivors quickly, but it's also easy to miss with that. But most general score on that, I will put the B, because I think the general portals are very, very strong to go to one place to the other. Next up is the learning skill. It's not difficult to making a portal or travel. The difficult part is to making the shred jumping. It takes time to use it in the right moment, and it's easy to dodge if you see what he's doing. I will put a C on that. Chases is the same thing. Like any other killer, you could go for a portal for one if you want to, but you do need to see where the portal is. And the shred, sorry, the shred could give you some distance, but you could miss with that or being hit by a pallet. I will put a C on this as well. The pressure part is interesting. I was tempted to put a B on this, but the portals can be destroyed. If the survivor detects a portal near the generator, they will destroy the portal and they seal off the door to that place. So, since the portals are vulnerable, I will put a C tier on this. If they will not vulnerable, I will definitely bump up to a B. Playing as a Demogorgon, well, I think it's a little bit clumsy. He's big and clumsy, and the shred part, it doesn't satisfy that much. It's hard to hit with. I will put a D tier on this entertainment factor, and which leads me to giving a C on this score. Vioni is next. Vioni is a relative of the spirit. It's a great-great-great-great-grandfather or something like that. His power is strong. By hitting a survivor with a regular attack, their blood coagulates to spheres in orbs in the air, which makes it good to track. He can use the blood to absorb it and gain his blood fury, which makes him angry and running out with a huge spike club. And that huge spike club, he can run as fast as hell, just like the hillbilly, but it's quite easy to turn with. And his one-hit club, when his club can hit you down with a huge massive attack and can actually beat down multiple survivors at once if you hit it correctly. The huge smack can also break down pallets quickly as well. I will put the A on his power. It takes time to learn to use his running speed and the demon strike, but the blood absorption isn't that tough. If that was difficult, I would put it in the bottom tier, but I will put it in the D tier because the running part is tough. The chase and the pressure, I think he has a good balance between chase and the pressure, because the chase makes him see getting after a survivor fast and getting off a generator fast as well, and putting pressure on them makes him very solid. That's why I'm gonna put the A tier both on chase and pressure. And I do think it's satisfying playing as the Oni. He's tough looking, he's big, he's beefy, he's angry, he's cool. I will put a B tier on his entertainment factor. And the main score of Vioni is B. Deathslinger. Deathslinger is a good chasing character. His power is in his power is in his spear gun with chains. If you're playing this character on computer, you're gonna have quite an advantage, because if you play Call of Duty or something like that, you're gonna be a good skilled aiming with his gun. If he spears you with his long range attack, he can reel you in and hit you hard, which makes his power very good to use for a long distance, and I'm gonna put an A on that. The learning skill, well, it's not difficult to shoot a gun and reeling in. You need to understand when do you need to shoot and when do you need to reload. Balance. But it's not difficult. It takes time to master, but it's not difficult to learn, so I will put B tier on his learning. The chase, on the other hand, is outstanding. If you have a Deathslinger after you, especially on tight places, you're messed up, because his you cannot escape a spear who travels about 100 meters per second. It's impossible unless you're using Dead Hard or something like that. So the chase part is fantastic. It's an S perk. It's an S tier. Map pressure and generate pressure is his only weakness, I think. He doesn't have any generate. Well, he does have a perk. I need to see his gearhead. The gearhead makes. I can see if someone fixes a generator if I hit someone twice with the M1. But it's a bad perk, so I will not consider using that. Otherwise, not really good map pressure things. I will put a C tier on that. Playing as Slinger is fun. His menacing laugh and his cowboy style is almost like a undead Leave and Cleave. Well, on the picture here he looks like zombified Abraham Lincoln. He's cool. He's cool. He's one of the best looking killers in the game. Well, that is best looking. He's cool looking. That's better. So I will put a B tier on his appearance and entertainment factor, which gives him a good middle score of B+. B+. That's cool. Here comes the Executioner, or Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head's power is based by making the Rites of Judgment. He takes his big massive sword and makes a mark on the ground. Anyone who steps onto it gets tormented and very easy to detect. If he downs someone tormented, he can put it in a cage of torment. If someone's been rescued twice or getting rescued after the second stage, he can execute them immediately if they're still tormented and downed. He also can use a launch attack with the sword, but a keen-eyed survivor can actually avoid it if you see the marks, but it's a blink second, so you need to be careful if you have a pyramid head after you. The power is good. It's good, but the marks on the ground can be avoided if someone crawls past the Rites of Judgment. So I will put a B tier on that. The learning skill, making marks on the ground isn't difficult, but using the power attack takes great skill and quite luck, because the survivors can manage to escape that. I will put a C tier on this. The chase skill, on the other hand, that's good. Not as good as Slinger's, but almost. His range attack can actually injure not one, but multiple survivors at once, which gives an advantage by Slinger. But the power can be avoided if you're lucky. I would put an A tier on chase. Pressure, on the other hand, little stronger, I guess. I was putting a C, but I think his power makes him. If he sees someone trying to finish again, he can use his massive power to sling that long distance attack and putting some pressure on the survivors. I will put a B tier on that. And I do love playing as Pyramid Head. I mean, look at him. Look at him. Damn, he's scary. He's cool. He's cool looking. His sword is badass. And he has strange powers I actually love. I will put an S tier in the entertainment factor, which gives him a middle score of B+. Together with Slinger, here comes the Blight. The Blight is scary. It's F-U-C-K. I cannot pronounce that word very high. The Blight's power based on his lethal rush, or the Blight corruption is called. He dashes through the stage, and if he hits an object like a wall or something, like, he can use his cane to hit someone and chase someone very fast. I think this power is very underestimated. I actually think it's strong if you know how to use it, which makes me put that on the A tier. But the learning skill is tough. You have to hold the button to use it, and you have to press the button at the right time to continue the dashing. Otherwise, he had to stop and using a syringe with that serum and rebuild his power. So that's why I'm gonna put a D tier on that. But the chase, oh my god, he's one of the best chases in the entire game, and an S tier is no doubt. S tier is the perfect score on this tier. He also has a quite great pressure. I mean, you can run to a generator fast as hell and beat the shit out of the survivors and scare him off. So I will put an A tier on his pressure. Playing as Blight, though, is double-edged sword. I think he's I think he's difficult to play as, and it's very frustrating by missing with his attack, which is bad though. It's a shame because I think he's really is a Halloween type of character, and his perks are strong too, especially Undying. This is a good combo with Ruin, with Devour Hope, or even Haunted Ground. This is one of the strongest hexes in the entire game. Which is strange, it's only a shield. The average score of Blight is B. Next up, the twins. But Charlotte is an M1 killer. Regular M1 killer hits with her sight, or sickle I think it is. But her power is within her twin brother Richter, who's here. She can release him and he can run around like crazy and jump on people. Richter has no terror radius, so you cannot hear him when he comes. I mean, well, you can hear his grunting, but nothing else. He can lead into an ambush attack. And you can switch between these two, so he can also be a radar. If someone's close to Victor, Charlotte would notice that. Victor is also vulnerable, so if he misses a pounce attack or standing still, they can kick him to death, and he will repair a couple of seconds later. The power is C, because since he's so vulnerable and the missing, when he misses the pounce, that means open up for Doom. I will put the C tier because it's strong, but it's not as equally strong as I hoped. And it takes time to learn these two. You need to find a balance. When do you need to use Victor? When do you need to use Charlotte? Do you only determine Victor? Do you not determine Victor? I think they're difficult. They're one of the most difficult killer players and very long learning curve. So I will put a D tier on those. The chase part, playing as Charlotte is a regular M1 killer, but Victor is faster. Victor's a fast little dude. I think his walking speed is about 6 meters per second, like something like that, and he can also jump and hold on to lockers, which makes him very dangerous in that, in my opinion. So the chase part, Victor alone will get an A, I think. But I have to be fair, so I will put a C tier on both together. Map pressure or generate pressure is slim, so I will put a D on that, unfortunately. And what's fun play is Victor. There's something about the twins which makes me, I don't know. I think their weaknesses are more superior to their strength, unfortunately. So I will put a D tier on the entertainment factor. They're not really that funny as players, which leads in a middle score of just a regular D, which makes them to the bottom part. They are quite weaker than the Plague. Here comes the Trickster. The Trickster is controversial as well. Many people hate this guy, but I don't. I think he's one of the coolest. And one of the coolest part. Hello, how you doing? Are you doing all fine? The Trickster here is it's an easy character to play as. His power is based on his knives. His showstopper makes people injured, well, partly injured when he throws his knives. If he hits someone with, I think it's 6 knives. Before it was 10 knives or something like that. If he hits them regularly with 6 knives, they get injured. And by hitting them by that, he can either throw more knives at them or hitting him with a swing with his cool looking baseball bat with the knife on. Which makes him very good in a chase. His power is C tier because I think it's actually It's nice. It's not as strong as Hunter's hatchets, but very faster and quite cool to throw as. I could imagine his knives a little bit easier to throw in PC than in consoles. So that's why I'm gonna put the power on C tier. Learning skill is not difficult with him. It's easy to throw the knives. Knowing how to throw the knives. It's easy to restock the knives. And yeah, B tier is fine here. The only thing that is the knives, well, they're stronger now, but not as strong as I would expect it from the beginning. He's a good chaser. He's not as good as hunters when it comes to chases when they're strong hatchet, but getting a menacing trickster with blades, multiple blades, it's shocking, it's horrifying, which makes me giving him a B on the chase part. Map pressure and the generator pressure is, well, so-so. I will put a C on that because he doesn't really have that strong map pressure or generator pressure, unfortunately. As playing with the tricks, I think he's entertaining as hell. I love his notorious, devious or chaotic laugh and lines, and this appearance, this K-pop appearance. He looks like Goro Majima from the Yakuza series. Well, more killer-based look. I think it's cool looking, and I think he is really fun as play as. So I will put the B tier on him, which gives me an average score of C. Many people, man, it's too high. I don't think so. I think he's quite one of the. Yeah, he's just playing fun to play as. Last killer, the Nemesis. Look at that, he's beefy and hulky. The Nemesis power is based by his tentacle strike. The tentacles has the T-virus, which makes people into zombies. But in this game, he just makes people sick by hitting them with the T-strike and building his power, just like Myers' tier within. The tentacle strike, if he gets into tier 1, he just has regular hit. Tier 2, he can destroy pallets and doors fast. And tier 3 gives him more longer range. And also, let's see here if I can read something here. The range gains higher. What the hell am I doing? And then it makes him very dangerous when chased. Although you can avoid his tentacle if you see where he hits. He also has a couple of zombies on the stage who also can help you making the survivors injured or contaminated by the T-virus. I will put the B tier on his power because I think the range of that tentacle strike is cool and strong. Learning skill, well, it's not really that difficult to learning the tentacle strike. The difficult part is when a good timed hitting with it, especially when you play it on console. It can be avoided. So the main score here is going to be C on learning. He has really good chasing skills. I think his strike actually has good range, which makes him very difficult to avoid. Well, not the strike, but very difficult to get rid of him because he's so entertaining and big. Which makes me giving a B tier on his chase. Map pressure, although is not his strength. This generator, unless he uses this certain perks, he really doesn't have that much for a generator pressure, so I will put a C tier on that. Playing as Nemesis is fun. I love rocking around like a huge, massive zombie-like Hulk Hogan and running along, and he sounds so heavy when he stomps the ground and he waves his big fist everywhere, and it's so satisfying in punching someone in the face down with his fists. I actually think the fists are more fun to hit with than the tentacles. Playing as Nemesis is quite fun. It's an S tier there, which gives you an impressive middle score as B tier on the Nemesis. So, with all that said, until the pinhead, the Cenobite comes, the best rank kill in the entire game is the Spirit. With A tier. Regularly. She's the main winner here. With the Slinger and Executioner as close second. It's very difficult to balance the criteria, but if I only would go for cool killers, the list will be very different. But I have to find a balance between all the kills, which I try to do today, and that's why Spirit has became A tier on my list, because she has really strong powers and attributes, and quite strong cons as well, which makes her astonishing. Okay, now I need to rest my voice, and I will see you each other for another time in my bad English with the Swedish Gamer. Bye for now.